Alright, on our turn 19. Biggest piece of news this turn is that Phasia has gone AI. Presumably he considered himself to be defeated and didn't want to bother playing the game. I do know he's in a lot of different games, so okay, fair enough. He's gone AI. That does mean that the AI has now started just spamming out troops because, of course, the AI does not have the same recruitment limitations that human players do, especially on higher difficulties. I think the AI here is set to difficult or mighty or something, not sure which. In any case, he started doing that. So, also Ulm appears to have been besieged by independents, which is sad for them since they just broke a siege by Phasia. So, sorry dude. Ulm wanted to take this fort. I talked about that last turn. We negotiated that. I'm gonna let Ulm take it. It does mean that Ulm will have 3 forts right next to each other, which is a little bit worrisome, but I think I can deal with them. If necessary, I think I can probably deal with them, and I probably will have to at some point here. But not immediately. Movement-wise, I'm still doing a ton of site searching. This guy's building a lab, 3 lizards are moving around, 1 lizard is searching this province, since I just realized I never actually technically searched Forbidden Forest. Idiocrates is also site searching. Over here, this new tyrant is capturing slaves to add to the besieging fort in Marignon. We did, of course, win the battle in Marignon. We can view that real quick. It wasn't too much special. It was basically just province defense, although they do have 1 witch hunter backing them up because and they have a paladin too who is blessed and has luck and all that, because the Marignonese army actually moved out. But as you can see, what happened here, I cast resist lightning just to be really safe, not actually necessary. And then Aristottle goes in. He did take a hit right there, which hurt him even through his protection, but of course it kicked his protection up. His defense skill is still fairly high, even with the harassed penalty and the berserk. His attack skill is high. He's got 2 attacks. So he and my Drakon here are basically holding off the enemy infantry, while the Helots just kind of mill about, providing bulk in support. The Marignonese infantry has already routed. Somebody is getting mind burned, but I don't know who it is. Back here, Antiphates was casting Earth Meld to help us out. My Helot infantry did rout, as Helot infantry tends to do. Actually, why is your morale 9? No, Hostile Dominion. Yeah, Hostile Dominion, even being led by a Taskmaster, doesn't entirely make up for that. And then my super combatant units go in and clean up, regardless. So that's it. Province defense taken care of, mage dead, and battle's over. The Marignonese army, such as it is, moved to Jerib, where they attacked my province defense. They lost all of their flagellants, which is what happens to flagellants. They die constantly. They kept their heroine. They have 3 fire drakes, which are actually pretty cool units. We haven't really seen them before because they cost way too many gems. They cost like 7 gems each, which is just too many. But that said, they do have this beam of fire attack that is useful against, well, me. It's useful against hordes of chaff, crappy infantry. That said, watch what's going to happen here. I think, yeah, the fire beam wipes out my infantry, but it also wiped out a lot of Marignon's infantry. And I think that is a big part of why they took so many casualties, because flagellants basically get one-shotted by Drake Fire. Like, my crappy province defense infantry should not have killed all of those flagellants. But the Drakes managed it. So the beam effect is cool. It's very cool looking, and it does do quite a bit of damage. But Fire Drakes are not worth 7 gems each, and they kill your own infantry, so you can't effectively have chaff for them. So, few units survived, about 6 swordsmen, 5 pikeneers, and the fire drakes, crossbowmen, the heroine, of course. Sending in Helot spam to deal with fire drakes is futile, so I am going to have to deal with them with giants, against whom they will be practically worthless because giants have fire resistance, and of course because giants are big and have powerful attacks that can one-shot fire drakes. This heroine, of course, is going to be a problem because thanks to the improved Heroes mod we're using in this game, she has this ×3 15 damage AP versus ×3 versus larger beings. This is an extra 45 armor-piercing damage every time she hits a giant, on top of the regular 16 damage and charge bonus of her lance. So Yeah, that's interesting. That will be tricky. Probably just send in Cyclops to beat her to death, to be honest. Beyond that, moving some troops around, I'm getting troops collected over here in Tifia to either reinforce the siege or go take the Steppe of Wild Horses. I am concerned by their wizards. I think I talked about that. I talked about that in the last video, didn't I? Yeah, I did. They've got a 4-fire wizard down here, who's going to be a little bit tricky to handle. I have spent quite a bit of money this turn upgrading the defense on my provinces, mostly to 6, although some I didn't quite make it, and I don't want to cancel yet another Cyclops in order to do it. I am starting to run short of money, which is what tends to happen in Dominions as you go along, because I now have, 5 forts all pumping out mages, and my capital is pumping out expensive, slow-to-recruit mages. So my research is still actually not going up yet, because so many of my mages are moving around site searching, but it will be soon. I should hit evocation. Well, it's gone up some. I should hit evocation level 4 in 2 turns. After that, I need conjuration level 3 for summon earth power, which is critical, and I need construction level 4 for the basic items that I need in order to gear out my tyrants to some degree, and just general item forging. Now that I have a Cyclops coming out, I definitely want to hit construction pretty quickly and start using him. It would also be nice to get enchantment for flaming arrows and such, but that will have to come a little bit later. One other reason I want conjuration, at conjuration level, where is it? Where's the revenant spell? There's a death summoning spell. It's not Revive Bane. It's not Spirit Curse. Could have sworn it was Conjuration, but maybe it's Enchantment. Yeah, it's Enchantment. Enchantment level 3, you can create a Revenant who is a Death 1 mage. If you have Construction, you can then hand that guy a Skull Staff and have him toddle around site searching at level 2 death, which is really, really useful, especially for a nation like me that doesn't have much death, but does have a little bit of death income. Being able to spend those gems fairly soon on summoning revenants and giving them staffs will be really useful. So for that, I need Construction 4, and I need Enchantment. So I'm not really sure which way I'm going to go first, whether I'm going to go down Conjuration. I need to go down Conjuration first just to get the Summon Earth power. That's vital. It won't take long because my research speed in 2 turns will be significantly higher. So that's my goal. I'm site searching for air down here, and I'm going to move these 2 guys around site searching for air a lot. I've got a 3rd guy site searching for air, yeah, up here, Lambos. And that's really critical because I want air quills, which are research boosters. Later in the game, I'll also be able to build lightless lanterns, which are powerful research boosters. And if I have enough death mages and death gems, I'll also be able to build skull mentors. So my research should be good later on. It's just starting off really, really slow because I have to site search. And I'm not having any good luck with site searching. 4 searchers, no sites here. It's not unusual, it's just frustrating. Ermor has declared a new prophet, interestingly. So there's that. We saw a couple of other battles. Here we saw Ulm attacking Phasia and losing. He ran into a lot more province defense than anticipated, because of course Phasia went AI, and the AI loves it some province defense. So let's view this battle just to see what exactly happened. So we've got a Priest Smith, so actually a fairly valuable unit. And some random infantry of Ulm, which are high protection but otherwise unexceptional. Clovis is stone skinning himself to make himself more tougher, which is fair. And then it looks like he's going to spam magma bolts, which are not very effective against hordes of crappy infantry like this. Probably means he doesn't have better research. And the crappy infantry is going to just overwhelm Ulm's infantry with numbers, frankly. And oh, no, he's casting Iron Darts now, which is a pretty decent spell. But he got murdered, and the Ulmish infantry, it takes them getting surrounded, but they do die. So, as you can see, they got kills. I mean, they got more kills than I would have expected. They killed 13 people, which is reasonable. Actually, they only killed 10 people. Where did the other 3 casualties come from? It must have been from, yeah, it was from light infantry scoring friendly fire with javelins. Ha! Light infantry. Also, Aristotle has become a hero. He has legendary command of the undead. Fascinating. Okay, then. That's, yeah, that's cool. If I ever summon a ton of undead, I'll give them to him, I guess. But yeah, so he's better now. But just not in a noticeable way. I am moving this commander back down to the capital. I'm not actually recruiting anything or even spamming any helots in the capital at the moment. The helot spam machine is temporarily turned to low gear because so many of my tyrants are moving around doing other vital things, like site searching, which they probably should have been doing earlier. But I feel like I kind of have enough helots for now. I'm not even recruiting helots. Just because I want to save money to focus on mages, and of course I'm recruiting these Cyclops, and Cyclops are very expensive compared to helots. They give you more siege strength, but one Cyclops is 4 and change helot warriors. So, you know, they still give you more siege strength per gold because they have 5 siege strength, but not by a whole lot. They're just big and strong, and I want to have some of them in my siege force. Right now I have about 75 siege strength in Marignon. I'm about to effectively double that. That'll put me up to 150, which still will take a while to crack this fortress. So next turn's recruitment will also move over there, and that will be a whole bunch of siege strength. That's 80, that's 61, so that's 100, plus my recruitment here and capturing slaves. So that should about double it again. I should end up with about 300 here and crack it in a couple more turns. I probably will pull HULK Smash away during that time. In fact, I probably will do it now. I might send HULK Smash to go beat up this army in Jerib. The only reason I'm worried about that at all is because they have Angelique there. And Angelique does that 45 extra armor-piercing damage per hit. Against Protection 22. Aristotle can't kill things as fast is the problem. And he's also leading some of our troops. Well, not many of our troops. I could send him and the Giant. That would lower my siege strength by about 10. Yeah, by about 13. But having him with his Iron Skin would help. And then he can also cast Skeletal Body, so he'll get Pierce Resist. That would be useful. Or, of course, he could cast Protection from Fire and then try to spam Immolation. I think probably Iron Skin's Skeletal Body attack closest is his script for that fight, because that means he'll take half damage from piercing weapons, and if I'm not mistaken, that's piercing. Oh, that's just magic. Okay, so that won't be reduced, but at least this will be. The actual charge itself would be reduced, and the Pikeneers' damage would be reduced. The Swordsman would not, because they are slashing damage. But I think he can probably handle them. Is it worth the fatigue, though? It's 20 fatigue. I would probably actually rather cast Protection from Fire to get him extra fire protected. Then hold one turn and cast Immolation twice. Well, but they don't have many infantry left. I'm worrying too much about this scripting. Like, I don't need to be worrying this much about it. Because they've got 4 crossbows, 3 fire drakes, 5 pikeneers, and 6 swordsmen is what they have at most. 5 pikeneers and 6 swordsmen. Yeah, he doesn't really need to be worried about the infantry, to be honest. So just Iron Skin. He might as well Skeletal Body. It'll save him from a little bit of damage. He already has enough fire resist to mostly ignore the fire drakes. Fire resistance 12. You have fire resistance 5. So you can still be hurt by the fire drakes, but not by much. Especially because it's only AP, and you do have 15 protection. So 15 protection and 5 fire resistance off of that. You, of course, have 16 protection, plus you're going to drop Iron Skin, which will kick you up over 20, plus the fire resistance, so you're immune. Yeah, let's go Iron Skin, Skeletal Body, attack closest. I will also give you... I should give you something to distract people from you. Let's give you 4 Healet Archers, also on guard, Commander. Okay. Yeah, go take Jerib back. And... yeah, I'm not going to send any Healets, because they'll just be massacred by the Fire Drake. Actually, why am I sending Healet Archers? They'll be massacred by the Fire Drakes. Don't bother. Just go take Jerib back. It won't be a problem. Up here, I've got pretty significant forces. 45 units. We're going to have Alcathus patrol just to make sure he can hopefully clear out any scouts or anything. And Boniface and Fanon are patrolling because there's an ongoing event here that is reducing my Dominion, and I need my Dominion in order for my research to be efficient, because my Dominion is what gives my dudes 3 extra research points, so it makes the Shackled Mages give me 8 research points and all that. Without it, they're still okay, they're just not great. And I would like them to be really, really good, because I would like my research to spike as much as possible. So, I have over 50 units patrolling here, and they should be able to wipe out whatever's causing the event there. I believe that event is linked to a stealthy heretic preaching in your domain against your Dominion, with a bunch of, like, crappy peasant units that have rallied to him, so they should be able to take it out. I'm not recruiting over here because I'm not going to war with Pythium, and I want to kind of de-escalate tensions, so I don't want to have a lot of troops on this side. Of course, if I see a build-up on his part, I will bring troops in. But right now I don't. He's got Theurgs. He's actually moving his troops out of this province and away towards the north. In the north, there's an interesting geopolitical situation. There's an extremely messy border here between Ashdod, Abyssia, and Pythium. Hi, Hev. I'm doing okay. Could you actually call me back in about 15 or 20 minutes, though, because I'm in the middle of recording something. Sorry about that. Bye. And this messy border is... I don't really know what this indicates. I mean, Abyssia has made progress, obviously. I think he started over here, actually. And he's got a fort next to an Ashdod fort, next to Pythium territory, which is next to Vanheim's capital. And Vanheim is also cut off over here by Shinuyama, and he's got territory almost next to Shinuyama's capital. And Shinuyama has a fort up here that is flanked by Vanheim and Gartha. So this whole northern situation is just really, really weird. This province is owned by Celeria. This is a Celerian fort that was taken by Ermor. This is an Ermorian army besieging a Celerian castle. So I don't quite know what's happening there either. Also, Abyssia has gotten underwater, which is weird. That's not usual for Abyssia, but okay. Good for them, I guess. Speaking of underwater, I have a little gang of water dudes here, but I'm not doing anything with them because there's only like 16 of them and they suck. So they can't really accomplish much. Oberic also needs to move out of this province, because it's not like he could stop these guys anyway. The Atlantean militia could come up on land. My 11 province defense would not stop them, but neither would Oberic. So, political situations confused. Right now, of the people that I see, Agartha, I think, is in a really good place, because I think he owns basically that. He may not own all the land. It may be Ermor that owns some of the land there. Pythium is in a very solid place, because he has a big chunk of contiguous land, and his borders are not too messy. Looks at first blush like he might be in a good place because he's long, but I suspect he's very skinny, because that's Tianxi. So I would not be surprised if TC owns, like, this province, especially because he has some provinces over here, so he must own some of these connecting provinces. On top of that, Abyssia has 2 thrones, including Adepts of the Silver Order. Agartha now has 1, and Shinuyama has 1. I know where that one is. Abyssia's thrones... Where's Abyssia? There he is. So, throne-wise, looking around at where I see Abyssia, Abyssia's pretty much got to have this throne, and then might have either this throne or this throne, so he's got a pretty fair expanse too. I would guess, if I had to guess, it's this throne and this throne, so he has, like, this territory. Not sure, though. Can't confirm, because I don't have enough scouts yet. In my area, Vanheim is by far the weakest of my neighbors, from what I can see. Now, Vanheim is scary because they're elves, and elves are scary, but it looks like Vanheim's in trouble. Shinuyama is not very well off. They do have several Bakemono sorcerers, which are powerful mages, and I would imagine they have better research than I do, because I'm kind of bad at research, and Phlegra is kind of bad at early research. Later on, their research ramps up very, very well, but early on, when all your mages want to be doing things, their research is not great. So, I'm a little worried about going to war with Shinuyama, particularly because I still have to finish off freaking Marignon. Now, once I've done that, I'll be able to push over into this territory, assuming it hasn't all been claimed by Tianxi. And AI Nazca, AI Marignon, and of course AI Phasia is also going to be a thorn in my side. But so these are going to be my moves for this turn. Future worries are for the future. There's kind of 2 ways I can go with this after I clean up Marignon over here. Either I can go to war with Vanheim or Shinuyama, since they look like easier targets, and I may be able to persuade Agartha to help me against Shinuyama. Or I can go to war with Pythium, because right now Pythium looks like the biggest threat. The biggest threat at the moment would probably be Agartha, with his super blessed sacreds, but he's not actually bordering me, so I couldn't do much about him even if I was inclined to. And he's been friendly, and I like having relatively powerful friends at least for a while. So we'll see what happens there. We'll burn that bridge when we come to it. Haven't claimed this throne yet because I haven't wanted to spare the troops and energy to take out all of these dudes and their wizards. There are ways to do it, for sure. One way would be to bounce a small army off them and try to trigger magic gem usage to steal some of the gems from the wizards. They do regenerate some gems over time, but they don't regenerate them immediately. This army, I think I'm actually just going to have him patrol for 1 turn since my defense here is low. And with 2 cataphracts, he probably can hold off. These are all Tritons. They can't even go... Never mind, they can't even go on land. Get up here. Yeah, get up here and help with things. Okay, so that's going to be it. We're searching, we're capturing a few slaves, going to be capturing more in the future. Hippolytus will move around and search all of these provinces for death. In the future, Glissas actually wants to be moving around and site searching for death, and he also wants to be summoning revenants. Doing that will be pretty valuable for me in the early game, because if I can get a real steady death gem income, I should be able to ratchet up to mages with about death 4 without too much trouble. In Extremis, I may even end up empowering somebody to break me past that, if I want high-level death stuff. But death 4 is enough to do pretty much everything you need without a very, very strong, death-focused strategy. The things you might want higher-level death for... Rigor Mortis can be done with death 4, which is great. Life After Death can be done with death 4, which is pretty cool. So can the Ritual of Rebirth if you have heroes. Lichcraft needs death 5, and Lichcraft gives you an immortal death 4 mage, which is very, very useful. If you can get death 5, Lichcraft is great. Death 5 also would open up Fields of the Dead, which basically just spawns undead all over the battlefield for the rest of the fight, which is pretty cool. Or Army of the Dead, which is a remote attack spell that's not terribly useful. Conjuration-wise, you need 5 death to call Wraith Lords, which are ethereal, undead, immortal, Death 3 mages that are very, very powerful. You also need Death 5, you need Death 6, of course, for the Well of Misery. And if you want to go all the way up, you need Death 6 for Legion of Wights, which is the only actually efficient way to get Wights. But I'm not going to be doing that. The most I might do is, with Death boosters, I may eventually summon a King of Banefires. But Conjuration is not one of my primary schools, so I probably won't get the King of Banefires before someone else does. I'm thinking... Actually, does Abyssia have death magic? I don't think they have much death. In any case, that's all far in the future. For now, Evocation, Construction, Enchantment, and Conjuration I need all at fairly low levels. And once I hit Evocation 4, I want to have troops in place to be able to use Thunderstrike relatively early. It'll be most effective against, like, Pythium, but I'm not probably going to war with them. Probably I'll end up using it against Shinuyama, who should not be shock resistant, so that should be fine. So, I will see you all in the next episode. Just to be safe, I'm going to send Hulk Smash up here with Aristwaddle, just to divide fire. I'm just a nervous Nelly, so I would like them to be next to each other. I would like them to be helping. And I will give him... He doesn't really have any spells he needs to cast, to be honest. Protection would help my Gigante that's with me, except it would make him fire vulnerable, or it would lower his fire resistance significantly. That honestly doesn't matter with his level of protection, so yeah, we'll cast Protection. Oh, but that would hit my, might hit Aristwaddle as well. Well, let's cast Protection. He should target the Gigante, because the Gigante is the only person who would actually benefit at all from it. No, he has Natural Protection 9. Never mind. Protection doesn't matter at all for him. Yeah, you might as well cast Vine Arrow. Or Web. Yeah, literally just cast Web twice and then attack. There we go. Okay. So that'll go. We'll more than replace that Siege Strength, then we may move them back, or we may move Aristwaddle around to Sight Search. But in any case, that'll be the end of the turn. I will see you in turn 20. Alright, it is Honor turn 20. Let's look at messages real quick. You may notice I did a lot of Sight Searching this turn. I found a magic site in Gintmark. It gives me 1 fire gem. My luck with Sight Searching so far has been, I would venture to say, unusually bad. I mean, it's turn 20, and I have 1, 2, 3 gem generating sites outside of my capital. I found the Jervallen Wall. That was very lucky. But beyond that, I am not doing well on gems. My gem income, a little sad. Fortunately, it sounds like at least some of the other players are having the same problem. Agartha has really been complaining about it, and Abyssia is having trouble. And I believe also Ulm said something about it, and so did Pythium. I think Pythium said something about it. I don't remember, but Ulm definitely did. So at least it's not just me. I've still got people moving around doing a lot of Sight Searching. I did finally find the False Prophet, who was lowering my Dominion, and I killed him in Delca, so I should get Dominion back here pretty quickly. I do need to start building a couple of temples. I would like to get up to at least 5 temples to kick up my Dominion strength and my chance of spread. That would be nice. So I'm moving my priest here over here to build a temple at this fort to help push Dominion. And then I'm also going to probably build a temple at this fort to push Dominion. I am making Idiocrates my prophet. I can now recruit a new prophet, so I'm making him my prophet. That will, of course, drop his upkeep to 0, to free. It will give him Holy 3. It will give him the effect of my blessing, which is nothing much. And it will give me a Holy 3 unit on the map that I can use to do things. I did get one really cool random event, which was the Lair of a Hideous Troll where you get a little bit of gold and gems, a bunch of gems, and I also got an Armor of Souls. You get random magical items with that event too. I gave it to Glissas. The Armor of Souls is slightly better than his normal armor. It gives a blood magic boost, which is irrelevant to me because I don't have any blood, but most importantly, it kicks magic resistance up by 5. Glissas has the paths to be a really, really good thug because he has earth buffs, he has death, which means eventually he'll be able to cast Soul Vortex, and he has high enough fire to cast Phoenix Pyre and potentially Fire Shield. So the combination of Reinvigoration, Soul Vortex, and Phoenix Pyre. I've talked about this before, I think. Phoenix Pyre means that when you die, you instead explode and reappear somewhere else, dealing AoE damage, and then you reappear somewhere else on the battlefield and gain a bunch of fatigue. It doesn't work if you're at above 100 fatigue. Soul Vortex sucks the life out of everyone around you and uses it to replenish your fatigue and give you hit points back. Your Earth buffs, of course, make you more survivable, and also Summon Earth Power gives you 4 points of Reinvigoration. If you add Earth Power to a pair of Messenger Boots, which are staple move fast items that give Reinvigoration, and a Belt of Giant Strength, or a Girdle of Giant Strength, I think it's called, that gives you more Reinvigoration, you end up with 10 natural Reinvigoration, which is quite high. Add that to the Reinvigoration from Soul Vortex, and you are very, very unlikely to be actually over 100 fatigue for any significant length of time, which means that kicking you out of Phoenix Pyre is going to be very nearly impossible. In other words, that combination makes a super combatant that can't very effectively be killed through damage. He can still be killed by other things, like if you have some mages that are spamming Soul Slay or Disintegrate, both of which are magic resistance negates spells, and now he has magic resistance 23, which means he will usually negate those spells. It's going to be hard to spam them enough to have a good chance of actually killing him with them. So, I want Glissas to live into the late game to become that super combatant. I will be gearing him out fairly heavily, and I will be using him fairly heavily. However, right now, I'm using him because he has Death 2, and so he can search for Death 2 sites. I'm swapping a whole bunch of Earth Gems for a whole bunch of Death Gems from Agartha. I had 6 Nature Gems. I'm swapping them for some Water Gems because my water income is garbage, and I would like to have some Water Gems available. I have a bunch of Fire Gems and good Fire income, and I'm going to get more Fire income. I'm going to double my current Fire income when I take Marignon and get the House of Fiery Justice. So that'll be fine. Air income I desperately, desperately want because I want my air random slaves to be able to spend time manufacturing air quills, which I could do right now. I thought I could do right now. No, I haven't researched construction, but as soon as I hit construction level 2, which I can do at any time, I could use air random slaves to forge air quills, which would almost double their research, which would increase their research to 13. In fact, I'm sorely tempted to start alchemizing fire gems to do that, because I'm not using these gems for anything at the moment. I want to build up death gems so that I can summon revenants and forge skull staffs and go big into death. But oh gosh. Research-wise, I'm hitting evocation level 4. I've been pondering what I want to do after that, and I'm thinking probably I want to hit construction level 2 and start pumping out air quills, but I just don't have any air income. And of course, alchemizing gems is horrifically inefficient, but since I have fire gems and I'm not using them for anything, it might be worth it. My research is finally going up. I'm still moving around all those mages searching, but I'm now recruiting mages that are actually doing things. I'm definitely recruiting lizard shamans and never stopping, just because I want to build up a critical mass of them. I am going to need to get thaumaturgy level 1 for Communion Master. Going up a little higher wouldn't hurt me since I do have Astral. In particular, going up to level 4 to get Paralyzed would be a decent idea. And at level 5, of course, I get Growing Fury, which could potentially be useful for me. I also get Raging Hearts, I guess, and of course I get Soul Slay. And Soul Slay is a fantastic thug killing spell because it's just make a magic resistance roll, and if you fail, your soul falls off and you die. So there's all of that. Yeah, so I do actually want to go down thaumaturgy at some point, since I do have that astral magic. Of course, I also want to go down enchantment. I've been talking about that this whole time. It's gonna have to wait, though. It's gonna have to wait a little while. Alteration. I mean, I want to go down every path eventually. I just kind of have to pick what I want to do first. Alteration level 5 would be a great target for me, but with evocation, so long as I have evocation level 4, I could probably do without it. So probably what I'm going to do is evocation level 4, construction level 2. I might go construction level 3, because I can hit level 2. Okay, so this turn I'll hit evocation 4, I'll hit construction 1. I might be able to hit construction level 3 in 2 turns, and construction level 3 would give me Legions of Steel, which is a decent buff for my soldiers. Let's go Evo 4. Construction 4 would open up a lot more items to me. Let's set this for now. We'll reassess next turn, because we won't quite finish that this turn. So we've got that going on. Nationally speaking, Vanheim is in trouble. Vanheim has been fighting Ermor, I've been told, which is great. I want him fighting Ermor, because Ermor is currently beating the crap out of Celeria. I think Celeria's player is new. There's no shame in that, but it does mean that he doesn't know how to stop Ermor. I talked to him a little bit, gave him some really general advice, some advice to use some particular thaumaturgy spells that Celeria is really good at using. I don't think it's going to be enough. Ermor has a very significant stack of skeletons right here, and they have their lictors, and Ermor is using this incredibly powerful cancerous bless that makes their lictors, their sacreds, and their Knights of the Unholy Sepulchre very, very dangerous. On top of that, Phasia, who has gone AI, is also attacking Celeria. The AI is just launching troops at Celeria, which is great. Yeah, that's fun. I do have plenty of money, or I had plenty of money. I've spent most of it. Not recruiting troops, not worried about building up armies, except over here I'm going to recruit a couple more. Well, I'm a little bit gold limited, so actually I'm going to spam out a whole bunch of Healit warriors here. 11 of them versus... Well, it's still more... Yeah, for upkeep purposes, if nothing else, I'm going to do that. Since I have a ton of resources, I think I actually will recruit some Healit soldiers. They are a little bit tougher, so might as well have some. They don't take any more upkeep. I am putting in a bid on the Shipwreckers, and I'm actually bidding a whole bunch. The Shipwreckers are this unit here. They're War Shamblers, which are actually fairly tough units, and I can use them to get underwater. Getting underwater is not particularly valuable, except in that it opens up a path to Phasia's capital. I'm going to reset my bid so that they'll appear here if I get them. And we're going to bid 250 gold on them. So what I want them for, basically, is I want the Shipwreckers to pop up here and take me, like, these 2 provinces or something. Like I said, not very useful. I can't do much underwater, but owning a water province will allow me to... That's not what I wanted. Will allow me to move up to Phasia's capital if I need to do so. I'm on friendly terms with Agartha, but that may not last forever, and Phasia's capital is an incredibly valuable province that generates a ton of income and can support a ton of troops and mages. And of course it also has gem income because it's a capital. So having access to that location, if necessary, is without having to fight my way through underwater, would be very, very valuable. And if I can get enough movement boosts on Tyrants, they should be able to start from here and run straight across the water to hit Phasia itself in 1 turn. Hopefully. In any case, that is definitely much future planning. I'm moving plenty more troops over to Marignon. Right now I have 133 siege strength. I'm putting in about another 200. That should crack the fortress in about 2 more turns, after which I will assault. I'll collapse a couple of Gigante tyrants on there and assault the place. That's an argument in favor of going for Alteration 4, because that will give me Temper Flesh, which will have damage. Yeah, it might be good to go Alteration. So yeah, we'll hit construction, and then we'll kind of see where we are. With the construction, hopefully I'll have a little bit of air gem income by that time. I'm searching these 2 provinces in air, and I'm searching this province in air 2 turns from now. He doesn't have any air randoms. Aristottle doesn't have any air randoms. I don't actually think I have any air random tyrants yet. Oh no, Hippolytus. Hippolytus is searching here, but that's already been searched for air. So he won't be finding any air gems, no matter what. I do have 1 Cyclops. This is part of why I'm pushing towards a little bit of construction, because the Cyclops can forge things, except he has nothing valuable to forge at the moment. I guess he could forge me an Oppressor's Headband, which would be nice to have a couple floating around. But since I don't need it yet, I'd rather have him researching for what his research is worth. So, that's going to be the turn. I'm finding out, I'm slowly expanding my vision of the world. And it's interesting. Shinoyama has been forced into this very long, thin formation, which is okay. They don't appear to have any contact with Ermor, which is fine. Agartha has expanded, of course, quite a bit. I don't know how far out to the side they are. That's Ulm. And Ulm just broke free from a lumber construct siege. They do have a national hero from the Improved Heroes mod, I believe, which is the Locksmith, who has high levels of Astral and a forge bonus of 2, which is very, very significant. He can forge Astral Earth crosspath items, which are a huge benefit to any nation that can get them, because they include the items that let you set up automatic communions at the start of a battle, like my Phlegran oppressors and shackled mages can do. So that's very valuable to have. His god is this Lenormand, who is actually a Svartalf, a mastersmith. And this Ulm player subbed in, and our original Ulm player who started staling pretty much almost immediately, appears to have set up a very weird kind of rainbow Svartalf. Which, I mean, rainbow, fair enough, he gets a forge bonus, but like, he has high levels of death and all kinds of paths that Ulm doesn't really have access to and can't do much with. So we'll see how that goes. I got some gold from a random event in Abi. I got some unrest from a random event in Shepherd's Haven. I killed the False Prophet, we already looked at that. I also killed a Bakemono scout in Forbidden Forest, which is nice. I lost a scout in Copper Woods because this force was patrolling. And, of course, I've completed my palisades here. I'm upgrading it. I'm searching. It already has a lab, so I've already started recruiting shackled mages there. I'm just recruiting shackled mages all over the shop. And they give me cheap research, and they will serve as communion slaves later in the game. I'm at the point where I need to start pumping them out because I need to start setting up communions. Because Thunderstrike communions are going to be my main battle magic firepower for at least a short time. And it would be valuable to start deploying them as quickly as I can. But I need more communion slaves in order to do that. I will, of course, need to hit Thaumaturgy level 1. It's only 7 points. Tell you what, let's mix that in there. And then go Construction level 2, because I should be able to hit Evocation level 4, Construction level 1, Thaumaturgy level 1, and then go back and spend about... That's 105, so 173, 7, 7, 7 and 7, so 14. Yeah, I'll be able to spend over 50 points on construction towards level 2, which will get me more than halfway there. Then next turn I'll get construction level 2, and I'll still have over 150 points to spend on something. So I could get up to Thaumaturgy level 2 if I wanted to, which Wouldn't be terribly useful. Or I could hit Conjuration level 2, which would give me some basic summons. I'm thinking about it. The other thing I want enchantment for is enchantment level 3 is Create Revenant. That's how I can summon those basic death mages to start death site searching. So it's valuable for me to get that, but it doesn't really help me in combat immediately. What's the best way to do this? I could hit Construction and Enchantment level 2 both in 2 turns from now. Yeah, that's probably the way to play it. Hit and grab Enchantment level 2 up to Enchantment level 3, get Enchantment and Construction, and then maybe go back to Alteration. I don't know. I'll have to play it by ear. It depends on how quickly I knock down Marignon, because the turn I storm this fort, I do want to have Temper Flesh available, because I will have, you know, 2 Gigantes fighting there. So, that's going to be turn 20. I know it's been a little longer than some of the others, not as long as turn 19, I think. But, in any case, I will see you in the next video, which will start with turn 21. Take care. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, turn 21. I think last turn I said this would be the start of a new video. That was before I looked at the times and decided to break my videos up now by 3 turns instead of 5 each. So this is not actually the start of a new video, and you'll have to forgive me for that. This has been an okay turn. Except, I was going down my messages. I did some diplomacy, I swapped some gems, I swapped some fire and earth gems for death and, I'm sorry, some earth and nature gems for death and water gems. Death gems because I want to mass up a whole bunch of death gems because I'm going to be spending a lot of them. And water gems because I have almost no water income. Whereas I have more earth and fire income. Then I was going down here and I was like, I finished my research in evocation, construction, and thaumaturgy, which is all great. And I was like, no magic sites, no magic sites, no magic sites. A magic site in Ablach. Why is there no picture there? Martu, okay, well let's click there. Mirror Palace, oh that's pretty cool. Go to Commander. Nothing. Why is that? And it took me a while of staring at this screen to figure it out. It's because of this. Ablach, that province that he searched, was attacked by troglodytes. Troglodytes they're actually a unit that early age Agartha can recruit and middle age Agartha can summon. This isn't an Agarthan spell, it's just a random event from Misfortune 2. But they have a whole bunch of hit points, and otherwise they're pretty crap except they're size 4 tramplers. So they have high morale, which is the main problem with elephants. So these guys can run in and just trample the crap out of infantry. Now, they are weak to arrows, so I did quite a bit of damage with my archers here. And in fact, infantry can kill them, but they just trample infantry so quick it doesn't hardly matter. So this poor lizard shaman, Martu, was over here just searching for sites, and he found one. He found the Mirror Palace. And then he was trampled by troglodytes. So that was really, really sad. I killed 9 of them, so there's 15 left. Whatever. The Mirror Palace, incidentally, is an air site, so it's air income, which I desperately, desperately need. It also has a little bit of money and an astral pearl, which is nice. So, I definitely need to drive those troglodytes out. 40 infantry will not kill 19 troglodytes, so I have to wait one more turn. In one more turn, I will have a tyrant, a new tyrant, plus 3 Gigantes and a whole bunch of archers. That force will be able to clear them out because they can't trample Gigantes, and if they can't trample, they suck. So I'll send that group in with Archer backup. It'll clear out the troglodytes. The troglodytes have unfortunately split my empire in that it's very difficult to move around without having Ablach. I used to be able to move from here to here in one turn. Now I can't because Ablach breaks that path. So that's irritating. But beyond that, the turn went fine. I proclaimed Idiocrates my new prophet. I got a message from Tianqi. We can actually read this message. It's a nice little in-character kind of role-playing message, which I like. I composed a response to him on Discord as opposed to in the in-game chat, in very much the same style, albeit a little more humorous. I'm In case you're interested, I'm playing this game as the Democratic People's Republic of the Free Democratic People's Republic of Phlegra, which is a transparent North Korea XP run by the Trophimos Council, with the tyrants being these like enormous stupid lumber boots that they kind of have to work around. My message included, I think, the phrase, "Well, the Trophimos Council approves of your peace agreement, and we'll give the tyrants a wagon load of cake each and tell them it was from you, so they'll sign off on it as well." So he proposed a non-aggression pact, and he proposed a border, which I am arguing a little bit about, but generally that's fine. And he also proposed to swap me a Blade of the Five Elements for 10 gems, which I'm actually fine with, because Blades of the Five Elements, while they're not very efficient weapons because they're single target, they confer a very significant defense boost, a little bit less than the main gauche of pairing, it's +4. And they give you 2 points of regen. So in the late game, my 2 death random tyrants like Glissas will be casting Soul Vortex, will be casting Phoenix Pyre. Actually, all of my tyrants will be casting Phoenix Pyre when they go into combat. And Phoenix Pyre, of course, relies on your fatigue being below 100 in order for it to resurrect you. So having a lot of reinvigoration will be really, really valuable for them. Now, with items, with a pair of Boots of the Messenger and a Girdle of Might, that gives them 6. With a Sword of the Five Elements, that pushes them up to 8 from their items alone. Then when they cast Summon Earth Power, they would be up to 12. And 12 reinvigoration is pretty darn solid. That might be enough to keep them fatigue neutral. I mean, it would keep them fatigue negative in combat, because their encumbrance is 3, their berserker is 4, so they're only taking 7 fatigue per turn in melee. But especially with Soul Vortex sucking health out of everybody around them to turn into more fatigue, I think that would definitely make the Phoenix Pyre almost impossible to take down. So that's a good idea. Phasia rolled in and took this province from me, the AI Phasia. I am moving Pronos and Alazones out to destroy them for their impertinence. My research is going up quite a bit. Research-wise, my research strategy is I want to hit Construction 4 really soon. I also want to hit Enchantment 4 really soon. Enchantment 3 and Construction 4 will let me summon Revenants and give them staffs so they can go around searching for death sites and I don't have to commit my tyrants to it. And of course Enchantment 4 will give me Flaming Arrows, plus Enchantment 3 gives me Strength of Giants, and Construction 3 will give me Legions of Steel. So once I have those, that is all my basic army buffs, all my basic earth magic buffs taken care of. At that point, I can start deploying Communions and Earth Random Sages as army support in a big way. After that, I will probably want to go down Alteration to Alteration level 5. Alteration level 4 gives me Destruction, Curse of Stones, and Temper Flesh for my Tyrants, and level 5 gives me Maws of the Earth and Lightning Resistance, which is the area of effect anti-air magic spell. It's not a whole lot of shock resist, but it's enough shock resist to normally keep from being stunned if you're near where a Thunderstrike drops. So it helps your it helps the mass of your troops. It will also give me Wooden Warriors. And Wooden Warriors would be really nice to have. I can loop my Lizard Shamans into Communions to buff them up so they can cast Wooden Warriors and drop that on my Helots. So yeah, I'm thinking Enchantment 4, Construction 4, Alteration 5. Evocation 5, I actually don't really need. I mean, having Storm would be nice because it would allow for me to cast Storm Power, which is in Conjuration. I almost have it already. Yeah, it's Conjuration 2. It would let me cast Storm Power, but it's not really a priority because I can cast Earth Power to give my Communion Slaves reinvigoration, and Thunder Strikes aren't that fatiguing anyway. 8 slaves will make my Trophimos Oppressor's Air 4, in which case a Thunderstrike is only 25 fatigue. Then you divide the 25 out among 9 Communion members, the Master and the 8 slaves. It doesn't come out to much. The ones that don't have air magic will take an additional fatigue penalty, so they'll still be taking like a little over 10 fatigue per round, but then Earth Power takes 4 of that away. So I'll be able to Thunderstrike for a good long time, and even longer, of course, if I selectively pick out the air random slaves to use. I only have a couple of those yet so far, but I can concentrate them and I'll be able to bring them in, so it won't be that much of a problem. So that's my research strategy. I'm taking this province back. Marignon is under siege with about 300 siege strength. I think they should be breached next turn, and then I should be able to assault. I have Aristotle moving over here. I actually don't need him. I have HULK SMASH moving to Site Search. I'm going to move Aristotle down here to join the attack, because I'm worried that the Cyclops and Helots might not be enough. I have Glissa Site Searching. I kind of want to bring HULK SMASH in on this attack too. It's kind of risky. Yeah, with the Dominion penalty. With the Dominion penalty, I actually don't want to bring him in because he only has 90 health. So yeah, let's move him back into my Dominion and keep Site Searching with him. I'm building another temple this turn, right over here. I am recruiting slaves over here. I had a moment of panic, or not panic, but wariness earlier this turn, when I looked over here and saw these armies, and I was like, oh, I guess Pythium's getting ready to attack me. And then I remembered, actually, he's moving these troops away from this province. A lot of those are troops that were here and have moved away, I think, so he's not actually coming after me, which is fine. I don't want him to come after me. So Hippolytus is moving to Site Search. I've got dudes Site Searching all along down here. I've got a dude Site Searching, moving to Site Search in Jerib. As I said, I've negotiated with Qin Shi. We're setting up some... We've agreed to a 3-turn non-aggression pact, so I've now got one over there, and a 2-turn non-aggression pact with Vanheim, who I am leaving alone because they're fighting Airmore. And things are going pretty well. AI Phasia is still kicking the crap out of Celeria, and Celeria is not long for this world. He's very small. He's not doing very well. Airmore is beating up on him in a big way. And of course the AI is beating up on him, and I suspect Pythium will lose his patience pretty soon. So Celeria is going the way of all the earth. That is for certain. In my neck of the woods, of course, the question is, who am I going after next? I'm leaving this province and this province for Ulm, although if Ulm doesn't hurry up and get after this province, I may well go ahead and take it. I'll leave it for him. I agreed I would. I agreed I'd leave it for him, so I... Again? This is the second time. I didn't even notice that. Where was the battle in Ulm? I have a scout here. Poor Ulm. Poor Ulm. He is not getting a break. Last turn, I think it was last turn, wasn't it, that he broke out and he killed one lumber construct that was besieging his capital? And now it's happened again? Oh man. That is just bad. That is just bad news. Poor Ulm. He is getting it hard this game. To be honest, that makes me kind of want to go after him, but I don't want to end up in the same situation where I have, like, the whole, like, this old border of the lake. Like, having half the border of the lake would be a bad situation to be in, especially because Agartha is right here, and Agartha has taken Phasia's capital, and is coming over here, and already owns all the south part of the lake, and it's going to own most of the north. Now, he has agreed to give me these 3 provinces, which is entirely a diplomatic victory. It's not entirely selfless, I'm sure, but having these 3 provinces will be nice. It'll give me a foothold in the water. As I said, it'll give me access to Phasia if I need it. for if/when Agartha and I do eventually go to war, which, you know, most people eventually go to war in a strategy game. That's just life. So, yeah, I don't need much water territory because I'm kind of shit underwater, but having a little bit will be helpful. So that's about the turn. I'm not really expanding much this turn. Hopefully next turn I'll take Marignon, which will be a definite boost. And from there we'll reassess and decide which way we're going. It will either be north into Shinuyama/Nazca, or west into Pythium. Especially because I do now have Thunderstrike, I kind of need to start using my magic. Since I have reasonable magic at this point, I need to start deploying magic before it loses its value. So, I'm not recruiting any Trophimos Oppressors yet. I probably should be, to be honest. I'd like to get a couple more turns of Shackled Mage production over here. And then I'll move on to that. I'm recruiting Shackled Mages over here as well for eventual communioning. And in Marignon, of course, I'll be pumping out just tons and tons and tons of mages, since it gives me 2 commander points. Plus over and above it gives me 3 commander points per turn, is what I'm saying. 2 over and above the 1 that every province gets. So, that's the turn. I'll see y'all in turn 22.